Be starting up here in just a minute. Open it up in case anybody's interested in checking the deck out in just a bit. Just taking care of some business first. Okay. Hello. This is my Gideon Ring Book of Exalted Deeds Turns deck that I've had a lot of success with. This is one of my probably top 3 favorite decks right now in Historic. I like it a lot. Kind of slips under the meta. There's not, like, it can do things that a lot of people just don't have an answer for. And there are some cards to look out for. 2 biggest cards that you're going to have to deal with this deck that can ruin your day are Karn and Teferi. But, you know, it is what it is. Everybody's got counters. So let's just talk about, like, the idea of this deck. The idea of this deck is to basically break the game and change the rules of the game so that instead of the rules being the opponent needs to kill you and drop you below a certain amount of life or mill you out to lose the game, the opponent actually needs to be able to kill an indestructible land for you to lose the game and kill it through all your interference and whatnot. So that's kind of the idea here. So how do we do that? Well, we have a few different ways of not losing the game. We have 3 Book of Exalted Deeds. This is your hardest lock here. You can basically combo this with Mutavault or Faceless Haven and be able to get an emblem on your land that says you can't lose the game, your opponents can't win the game. A lot of decks just can't do anything about that, and the ones that can, we have mitigation measures to pursue. The other way we have to not lose the game is we're packing 3 Gideon of the Trials. You can get an emblem from this, and the emblem will say you can't lose the game as long as you have a Gideon. Now, this is more fragile than the book, but it's also less moving parts. So sometimes you may need to fetch a Gideon, sometimes you may need to fetch a book when you're tutoring, but either way, it gives you a way to basically abuse your 8 spells in the deck that are extremely powerful but make you lose the game. So let's just start left to right now that we've looked at and then the other synergy, sorry, of this deck is that once you have the ability to not lose the game from being in negative hit points, you can basically abuse the 1 ring to just draw your whole deck. You don't care about the damage it's doing to you. You can go as low in negative life totals as you want to, and it doesn't matter. You also don't care about things like Shelly anymore because it's just chunking your health total, but that doesn't matter. So let's go ahead and take a look. So Pact Negation, there's only 2. This is basically Force of Will once you've gotten a combo piece on the board. So if you have Gideon out, and opponent does something that, if you have Gideon out in the emblem and opponent does something that you don't want to happen and you know that your Gideon's going to be safe, then you can pact. If you have an emblem on your land, it's even better. You can just pact anything that they would do that would interfere with that. So you would look to use this on things like Karn or Teferi. But yeah, it's basically just Force of Will once you've gotten either Gideon or book on the land. and there's only 2 because you really don't want these in your hand. You don't want too many of these in your hand because they're only really good while you're comboing out and after you've comboed out, as far as like getting the invulnerability token. All right, unlike that, the next card is good all the time. We run 4 Surge of Salvations. You and permanents you control gain hexproof until end of turn. Prevent all damage that black or red sources would deal to creatures this turn. Creatures you control this turn. So the second part of this is not usually relevant, except for sometimes people mistake the animation it puts on their creatures for being prevent all damage, and will like do things like not attack you. But if the opponent's not making mistakes, the second part of this is not that great. But the first part counters many things, and it's all the things that we want to counter. So it can counter Thoughtseize, it can counter any kind of targeted discard. You can use it to cover your book combo. So if you have 5 mana and you have a book out and a Mutavault out, you can Surge of, and this happens a lot, you can Surge of Salvation, your book and all your land get hexproof. Then you can animate your Mutavault and put the book on it, and at that point, unless they have like Sheoldred's Edict, there's not much the opponent can do to stop you from getting the counter on Mutavault at that point. It's pretty much impossible. It can also protect your Planeswalkers. It can protect your Ring from exile effects, your Karns, your lands. It just protects everything. We run 4 of them because of how strong it is, covering our book combo, and also like how good it is at kind of like stopping the stuff that would normally kind of fuck us with this deck. So next we run 4 reprieves. This Magic's a game of turns, so this is your turn 2. The idea here being that if you can stall them for a couple turns early in the game, you're probably going to be able to get to the point where you can get a Ring out, or you can get a Gideon up and running, or you can get a book down and then like next turn combo out and things like that. So we're just trying to slow them down in the first 3 turns of the game, and that's what the reprieves are for. That's, the Surge of Salvations can also slow them down, like blocking Thoughtseizes and things like that. There's a fun interaction here as well. So this is something that I've realized after playing the deck a good bit. So say you have a say somebody casts a kill spell on your Planeswalker, and you don't want it to die, so you cast Surge of Salvation, but then they cast at instant speed another kill spell at your Planeswalker, and you're holding a remand. Well, if you have 3 mana open, you could just remand their kill spell, and it might save your Planeswalker for a turn, or your creature, or whatever, but the opponent then gets their kill spell back, right? Which is bad, because they can just do it the next turn. So what actually comes into play is you can remand your own Surge of Salvation on the stack back into your hand, and then put it back on top of the stack, and then opponent's down 2 kill spells. You draw a card, you lose Reprieve and Surge of Salvation, but like it's really bad for them when that happens. All right, let's see what else we got. Search for Glory. This can search for a snow permanent card, a saga card, or a legendary card. So we don't run sagas, but so the only thing that's really relevant here is the legendary card or the snow permanent card. You're generally going to be using this to either A, fetch a Gideon, fetch a book, fetch a Ring, fetch a Karn, whatever you need at the given moment, or B, let's say you have a Ring in your hand, but you're not sure you're going to hit your 4th land. You could use it to snap up and untap Snowland out of your library, or a tap land if you're already stalled and you know that you're not going to be able to play anything else. You can conceivably get a tap land. You can also get Faceless Haven, and there's only one of these in here because Mutavault's a much better creature to go off on. It's less restrictive as far as the mana it requires. This requires 3 snow to activate. Even though itself counts as 1, so you can tap itself for 1 of those. So you really only need 2 other snow lands. It costs more, whereas Mutavault costs 1. This costs 3. but it's tutorable with Search for Glory. So that's why it's in here, because if you don't have a Mutavault and you haven't found a Mutavault and you think that, hey, I want to be able to combo out with this book I've got, then you may end up grabbing Faceless Haven to have another creature land to combo on. But again, we don't run a lot of them. We only run one because it's mainly for being tutored out of our deck. Every land aside from these 5 lands produces white mana, and the reason for that is the book combo is extremely white mana intensive. If you want to do this out of your hand, you need 6 white. But 3, play it on turn 3, turn 4, play Mutavault, tap Mutavault, book Mutavault. That'll get you there most of the time. Gideon, he's got a lot of modes. The one that's most important for us is you get an emblem with, as long as you control a Gideon Planeswalker, you can't lose the game and your opponents can't win this game. This is what lets us cast our extra turn spells, our glorious end spells in the opponent's turn, our pact negations and such. The +1 ability on him is actually relevant too. You can use this, say you have a ring out and opponent has Bowmasters. You can plus on the Bowmasters and tap your ring, and their token will still grow, but it won't deal any damage because the damage is prevented. Also, obviously, just preventing damage from big creatures, or going 1-1 with, if they only have one creature, this can lock it out for an indefinite amount of time. And then finally, the 0 cost until end of turn, Gideon becomes a 4/4 human soldier. This can become relevant when you're taking extra turns. Sometimes you go on a beatdown plan where you just beat down with manlands and Gideon while taking extra turns. And then sometimes you go on the Approach of the Second Sun plan. Book of Exalted Deeds. At the beginning of your end step, if you gain 3 more life this turn, create a 3/3 white angel creature with flying. This is very rarely relevant, although it can be. This can gain you up to 3 life, so potentially if you have a book out and you cast Search for Glory with 3 snowlands, you'll get an angel as well. So it's not incredibly relevant, but it does occasionally crop up, and it can actually, I've had games where I won because I had the angel token to absorb a hit or kill a planeswalker, We're mostly targeting, again, to put it on Mutavaults, but it can also go on Faceless Haven. Glory's End. In the turn, at the beginning of your next end step, you lose the game. It's just discontinuity for 3 mana with a disadvantage of you lose the game, which would normally be really bad, but obviously we're trying to take steps to circumvent that. Chance for Glory. Creatures you control gain indestructible. Very important to note that that is permanent. So when you use this, anything you have that is a creature will gain the indestructible tag forever, including Mutavaults. So you may have a scenario that looks like this. You have a book on the field, you have a Chance for Glory, a Mutavault, and 4 mana. So maybe you tap the Mutavault to turn itself into a 2/2. You cast Chance for Glory to take another turn. The Mutavault gains indestructible. You pass the turn to yourself. You untap everything. You tap the Mutavault to turn itself into a creature, and then you put the book on it. Now you have an indestructible Mutavault with you can't win the game and your opponent can't lose the game, or you can't lose the game and your opponents can't win the game. And that's really strong. There's only a few things in the meta that can deal with that, namely the ones that I talked about earlier, Karn and Teferi. So if you're against blue-white and you get this off, then you need to be saving all your cards to interact with Teferi. If you're against Rakdos or artifacts or some such like that, you need to be saving all your cards to interact with Karn. Alright. Karn. Live by the Karn, die by the Karn. We're really bad into Karn decks, and we want them to be bad into us too. So we run Karn as basically an extra tutor. So that's why we're only running 3 books and 3 rings in the main deck, because you can fetch them from your sideboard with Karn. There's 2 of these here, basically to replace the missing ring and the missing book. So you would normally run 4 and 4. We go down 1 and 1, and we run 2 Karns, right? So it's similar, but more flexible, and a little bit slower. My Karn board that I'm running right now is currently Torment's Crypt, Pithing Needle, Libo Metal Coating, Book of Exalted Deeds, or is this Silex, the One Ring, and a Cityscape Leveler? This is kind of your Karn win board, that's where you go. I think everybody fucking knows what this card does. It's OP as hell, especially when you don't lose the game from having negative life. This deck is just as synergistic with the Ring as the Shelly decks. Just because, like, once you get going, you can't die from having negative life. That allows you to pretty reliably enter a situation where you're going to draw your entire deck, which brings us to our last two cards. Farewell is there so that if you have comboed out, basically, and you're drawing through cards, but opponent has some kind of board state that's stopping you from being able to win or stopping you from being able to complete the game, Farewell is here to try and clear that up. You're expected to kind of draw into it. This is not something that we're counting on having in every hand or anything like that. And then finally, our actual win condition, a single copy of Approach to the Second Sun. That's all you need. Once you lock down the game, you're going to take infinity turn, or not infinity turns. This deck doesn't go infinite on turns like the other one does, but it doesn't need to, because you're going to draw your whole deck. Eventually, you're going to play Approach to the Second Sun, and then you're going to play it again, and you're going to win the game. And usually, by the time you cast this twice, you're in a scenario where the opponent can't win, and you can't lose. The final kind of synergy I'll point out here is that this says, if this spell was cast from your hand and you cast another spell named Approach of the Second Sun this game, you win the game. Otherwise, put it in your library 7th from the top and you gain 7 life. So interestingly enough, this spell doesn't have to resolve to satisfy the first conditional. So you can actually cast Approach and reprieve it. It doesn't come up often, but you can cast Approach and reprieve it, and it goes back to your hand, and when you cast it again, either the next turn or the same turn if you have a ungodly amount of mana, you will just win. You don't have to go draw 7 cards to get it or anything like that. You can just reprieve it, cast it again, win the game. Usually by the time you're casting this, you'll have a ring with like 4, 5, 6, 7 counters on it. So it basically is a 2-turn clock anyway. You cast it once, you tap the ring, you draw all the way to it. Next turn, you untap, you tap the ring, you draw it, and then you go. Our mana base, Snow-Covered Plains, 4 of them. Alpine Meadows, 4 of them. It's our only tap land here. 4 Needle Verge Pathways, 4 Sacred Foundries, 3 Sundown Passes, 1 Faceless Haven, and 4 Mutavaults. Our Karn board, I think I already described this. It's just an extra beatdown win condition here. These are you're going to be tutoring these a lot out of your sideboard with Karn, one or the other. This will occasionally be relevant, as well as this will occasionally be relevant. Like, I won a game against a guy where I had no cards left in my deck. It was a mill deck, but I had already gotten Liquid Metal Coating and Karn down in my combo to where I don't lose from not having any cards. So eventually I just killed every land the opponent had, and then at that point I just waited for him to draw all the cards in his deck and lose, and every time he played a land we destroyed it. Pithing Needle can hit things like Teferi, it can hit things like Liquid Metal Coating if you're playing against another Karn. It can hit Maze's End, occasionally relevant, and it can hit a lot of things, but like it's pretty standard Karn board. All right, that's pretty much the basics of how you play this. There's a one other thing I mentioned. If you get to turn 3 and you have enough mana to cast Chancellor of Glory and you have a Gideon, you can do a little trick which involves not doing anything on your turn 3, holding your mana open. This is instant speed, you see, and waiting for the end of the opponent's turn. And then if it's safe, you can Chancellor of Glory on the end of their turn, and that will line up 2 turns for you back to back, but you would just lose at the end of your first one. But then you can play Gideon, get his emblem. That will take one of your 2 turns, But then you get to untap with Gideon, which is huge, because then you can defend it, you might be able to board wipe, you might be able to, do all kinds of shit. And then the other fun trick with Chance for Glory is against control decks. Most control decks, at some point, are going to tap out on your end step. They're going to want to cast Memory Deluge, they're going to want to cast draw spells, instant speed draw spells, basically. If they tap out on your turn, let's say you had a Gideon and a Chance for Glory, right? And you're trying to figure out how the hell am I going to get this Gideon on the ground versus all these fucking counterspells. Okay, they cast Memory Deluge. Okay, you respond with Chance for Glory. So they're tapped out now. You get another turn, play your Gideon, get your emblem. Now they have to deal with the Gideon, and you're at a much better position to fight from. You may even have a Pact of Negation in hand at that point to like stop their response to Gideon. I've had a lot of luck with this deck. I'm going to do probably a few of these deck tech, more in-depth deck techs about the deck itself for my favorite decks in Historic right now. And this is definitely one of them. So why don't we take this deck and let's go play an event with it. And we can kind of show how to play it. Where's my Historic event? There. I'm blind. Oh no. I'm still on the last one that I won. Okay, hang on. Loot. Alright. So I actually just won one on the couch with this deck a minute ago. This deck, you would think, oh, that seems weak. This deck has performed pretty well. I would be happy playing this in like a tournament any day. I would play this. I would play Jund Sacrifice. I would play Neoform. I would even play Gideon Terms, which is a similar idea to this deck. I think this deck's a little stronger. So we have Reprieve, we have the Ring. I think that's enough. Play a tap land to start. With this deck, you're looking for something to stall the early game into some kind of payoff. So here we have the Ring as the payoff. So it makes sense. We're going to stall the game here if we can. Alright, opponent's on Samwise combo. Which is not good. We can definitely die to that. It's not good. I mean, this is one of the decks you really don't want to see. It kind of goes through our ring protection, which was our plan, was to stall until we could land the ring. But now... Okay. Alright, so we're going straight into book. And we're doing that because opponent's on a plan that can just kill us outright behind the ring. So if he goes off, we lose anyway. We lose if we play the ring, we lose if we play the book. But if he can't, and it seems like he might be able to... Alright, we lost. Is this targeted? No, it's not. Alright, we're dead. So, if you don't know, this is an infinite combo. It's funny, like, we have a lot to fight that. Our Divine Purge at any point, we'd be fine. Wouldn't it suck if I did the deck tech and then got totally fucking wiped out? Back to back to back. But guess those are the breaks sometimes. I did just win one, I swear. Alright. See, like, this hand would have been a lot better at fighting that other hand, because we would have had Divine Purge for all his bullshit. Wizards? It's just Wizards. So our game plan against Wizards heavily relies on Divine Purge, so it's good we got them. we're going to do our best to turn off as much damage as possible with our reprieve to stall into our Divine Purge turn. We'd love it if opponent just kept going wide, maybe like Balmor or Reckless Charge, and then remain the Reckless Charge or something. That'd be great. Play Balmor Reckless Charge. Do it! That's not Balmor. So we let it hit us the first time because of... No, it doesn't. Okay, so we remand. Bonk bonk. Take 4. Remand's the right choice there. We don't want to go into the graveyard where Dreadhorde can get his grubby little hands on it. Another Dreadhorde. And a Balmor. This is not bad. We don't hate it. Play this hand out like a control deck would, basically. So that should be pretty much all his creatures. Sim Sage, 2 mana. Alright, now we're going to take the opportunity to book. We have the remand. One more land. We let that in. We want to draw land. Remand just to see another card, basically. So, like, this is a scenario where, like, oh, what would I, if I only had an extra turn, maybe I could do something. This is a perfect scenario for that. Alright, so we changed the rules of the game here. Damage doesn't mean anything anymore. The only thing that means anything is land destruction. Can you destroy a land? And can you do it quickly? So all the burn spells and shit don't matter. We basically turn their whole deck off. Yep. So that's the idea. And if we'd untapped from there, we had Gideon, we had another Chance for Glory. At some point, we would have tried to get our Faceless Haven active, and then Chance for Glory on top of it when we could protect it, so that we could get it to be indestructible in case he has like one Field of Ruin or something, you know, which he probably doesn't. There's like a 0% chance that he's got it, but he might. Surge, Reprieve, Ring. It's on the play, but we do have Reprieve. And we can stop a Thoughtseize from taking it. So hopefully we can hit land, and if we hit land, we'd have Search. We could get another land from that for Ring. opponent. Hello. Bonk bonk. Hello, Mr. Cyclops. Blue mana self-mill. Let's go. Reman the mill spell on himself. Great. Flame Purge is good against this deck. Black mana. Glimpse the unthinkable on myself. Fuck. Well, that's not good. Alright. Got an amalgam. 2 creeping chills. So we're gonna be fucked if we don't get a land on this next turn. You need white untapped sword. He's gonna get 2 blood gas, and it looked like 2. No, just 1. Sure. Oh, white mana's so good here. We can just take this shit out of the game for good. Yes. White mana. This is 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Alright. Depends on how many more of the nuke spells he hits. He's only got 1 left, but it could be his top card, you know? It was, he got it. It doesn't do anything. Yeah, we're dead. Yep. That's the luckiest motherfucker I've ever seen. This guy milled 4 creeping chills in the top 10 cards of his deck. Well, the top, is like the top 14. And so that last one wasn't good. This one's okay. It's slow. But if we get a Mutavault, it's not slow anymore. We are on the play, that's good. Two tap land is rough. Let's see what opponent is on. White mana. Tap boy. It's gonna be some kind of pile. One mana flyer. Maybe like boggles. I think I searched for Gideon here. Do I get Gideon? Red, white. It's white back. Alright. I'm grabbing Gideon here, and what I'm gonna do because if I grab Gideon the next turn, I can take 2 turns. No, turn after next turn. Basically trading 2 turns up front to get 2 turns, but I'm going to hopefully have more mana at that point. That's pretty good for a 2 mana card. Yeah, see, like, now we got more mana. Alright, we gotta take 1 more hit from this. It's like a samurai katana tribal. It's kind of funny. I dig it. Yeah, so he's gonna attach. Yeah, that hurts. Let's change the rules of the game a little bit there.
Virtue will always triumph. It's time to give up.
Alright, so we don't lose the game because we have Gideon. Oh, that's so good that we got that.
It's just you and me.
We got 2 remans. We can only use 1, obviously, but we at least get to bring. What he's probably going to do, and what we really don't want him to do, is reattach everything to this other creature. Preferably, he wouldn't do that. It'd be nice to keep the Gideon around. We don't have to have it, but... Is this not a samurai? No, it's not. So he has to... Oh no, it works on warriors. Alright. So he kills that. Yeah, it doesn't do anything, but that's cool. He bonks.
We still have a chance.
He bonks. Land? Fuck yeah, land. That's so good. That means if we find a new vault, we can do it, like, on the spot. I'm just gonna do this because I want to drop. There it is. Doesn't quite work out. Got there. I think we probably got there. We'll see if he's got artifact answers. Alright, opponent. It's like the lone samurai. Lone samurai equipments. I like opponent's deck, it's got a lot of flavor. And
If it's a fight you want, then a fight you'll get. Fight on, but now it's my turn.
no, let's throw away the tap land. So now we descend into the depths of negative life. Nice. Funk.
Next
Funks are
time,
Gideon.
I'm ready.
Funks us. Oh, that's fun.
I battle for the forces of good. I will not stop.
Can I put Gideon and...
Your weapons won't help you win. It's just you and me.
Land, Preve. So now we just start taking away the agency from the opponent. And we get an indestructible cityscape leveler. So if I do this, how much do I have left over? 3? Oh, way more than that. I'm not gonna torment the opponent. I'm gonna put them out of their misery. I mean, we have double force of will at this point. I'm not even gonna plus planeswalkers, it's cool. and you just win like that. The alternative to that, normally at a certain point you're able to just go off. The alternative to that, if they somehow get rid of your approach, is to just let them mill out. Which can be grim sometimes. Or, I mean, if you can't beat down and you can't mill, I have seen stalemates. It is possible. Reprieve Purge Karn. I think I keep this. And we just want to reprieve anything, right? Just want to redraw cards. Here comes a Gideon. That's good. Beautiful. Double Gideon.
Watch over. You cannot win.
Shelly. Nope. That does suck.
Let's do this.
Until you have lived understanding, my grief fuels my mission.
Oh, that's very nice.
Evil cannot withstand a righteous heart.
You'll have to get through me first.
My retribution is swift. Say hello to my little
Divine Purge sweeps my liquid metal coating as well. Have to do it though.
I've been waiting for this.
All right.
rid you of your corruption.
Now it's my turn.
I will be better prepared next time.
I'm thinking, can I afford to take another hit here? Well, I wouldn't. I personally wouldn't take another hit. You. And then.
Let's do this one-on-one.
Yeah, right. Let's go. So he gets us to 6 here. Or 5, excuse me. Probably has another Shelly. We'll see. Turn is annoying. You can't kill it.
Some solutions must be built.
Let's see. So he can do 2 more damage next turn. Then I could Chance for Glory, Gideon. Thinking we really got fucked on land here. I could also just play the ring now. Alright, play the ring. Let me buy a turn so I can hit a land. Okay. Opponent buys the 1 ring. Actually dangerous. I need a land so that I can take an extra turn. I think I was probably supposed to not play the ring.
Allow me to introduce you.
It doesn't really do anything. with Karn out and just take the extra turn here, it would have felt a lot better. Yeah, that was my bad.
Your weapons won't help you win. Now it's my turn.
My allies are counting on me.
Pithing Needle on Mutavault would be good. That's kind of fun. We want him to all in the Gideon. Because we have to kill the Karn. And it's just 3. To face. His face, huh?
Stand down.
Acting unwise.
We don't want to draw any cards here. So we're just gonna let it pass. I mean, we'll swing at Karn again and kill it. Maybe it would have been better to just let the Mutavault die and play the book. The problem is I can't play the book while the Karn is on the field. That will do it.
There is great power in the people of men.
Think we're done.
How do you feel about a rematch?
Can't actually cast Reprieve anymore. It's so freaking close. We literally just got screwed by getting 3 Mutavaults. It's kind of lame. Alright, here's what we're gonna do. I got a plan. We're going in.
I am proud to have fought.
Yeah. Well, if you saw at the beginning, I was on the tail end of winning one, and that one kind of went not so great. Let's try again. Okay. We don't do anything till turn 3, but we have board wipe, Gideon, and book for turn 3. If we can hit white, then we have like on curve turn 4 book on Mutavault, so that's good. We just needed one more white mana. So I'll keep this. Opponent's on the play though. This might be too slow. We'll see. Search can get us the other land. What's this? Domain? Feels like domain. I'll throw out a Gideon. Alright. Yeah, there's Fragment Reality. So there's Exile Control. Just standard shit. Alright, I'll play Gideon.
you
He's
will
definitely
always
got
triumph.
lightning helix, so we plus to make it more expensive. We don't need the token yet, the emblem.
Right on schedule. We need to move quickly.
You sure about that, buddy?
Here we go. Retreat.
We're actually gonna grab Karn. We can grab Pithing Needle.
No time for a break.
Headlining Teferi and backing it up is actually not great.
I battle for the forces of good. Stand down. I will return.
It's alright, all this has to happen. How do I kill that fucking Teferi? I need something tutorable that could kill that, maybe. Okay, Ice Cube. It's just infinite exile. Not infinite, but I wish they would print less exile effects. I do. And less indestructible effects. I think it's gotten out of hand. It's like everything valid to play is indestructible and every valid removal is exiling, then what's the point, right? Hey! Alright, up against elves. Or maybe devotion. No, it's elves. Elves for sure. Well, that's good. That's a relatively light open. We're gonna have to take 2 turns at the end of their turn. And then we'll be able to hold up Glorious in. Maybe we can get there. So you gotta survive 2 turns here. We survive this hit and then the next hit. That beefs up this hit a little bit. We take 4 and then 5. That's not lethal though. Alright. Here we go. We're off to the races. So this is how you combo into Gideon. The most efficient way to do it anyway. Take 2. So you cast that at the end of their turn. You cast Gideon. You get your emblem. Play your land, go to your next turn. Now you're untapping with Gideon. We're gonna swing this turn because we're gonna end the opponent's turn here. Alright, so this is good. Now we have...
You'll have to get through me first.
Search, gain 2 life. Get Faceless Haven. Book. He might have Boseiju. And we just combo out next turn. We just have to live through this hit. Our Gideon's probably dead. Alright, we're in the combat step. All face. Gideon does live. Yeah, it is smart to hold that back, because you could always make a token with it, right? Could do 3? Sure.
I expected it.
We even have Surge of Salvation. Everything is on. We won't let any Karns or anything in, and that's the only thing we really got to worry about. We have basically 3 counter spells. All right.
Now it's my turn.
And now it's just a waiting game. Eventually we're gonna hit a ring, and then we'll draw our whole deck. You should probably kill that Gideon. I mean, it's like, I'm in negative life. There you go. Bonk, 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 bonk.
I'll be ready.
Sure. We're basically sitting on 2 Force of Wills and 1 counter anything that targets anything I control or me. How much does he cost? 3 mana? Whenever you cast a spell that targets him, put a 1/1 counter on him. When you cast a spell that targets a creature you don't control, damage to a creature. Not. If it was any target, it would be sick. Okay. Bro, this is your chance to go as big as you possibly can with this elf deck that you've made. Let's do it. It's just more counter magic. It does draw us to our approach faster. Hit us. Let's go. Nice. Doing it to draw a card. Now he knows we have the Surge. I don't think he probably doesn't have anything in his deck that would deal with the land, though. Most likely. Oh, he stopped hitting me. Nice. Let's go. Good game. GG, dude. Might as well throw the crater hoof in there, right? I'm bad. Wizards. Alright, so here basically you want to just survive till we can purge whatever he's doing here. Alright, sure. All damage. Alright, do your worst, opponent. I'd love it if you drop another Soulscar Mage here. That would be wonderful. Soulscar Mage. Alright, well. I'm purging it regardless. That might just be lethal. Hit 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's a really nasty opening. Alright, so down to 3. He's got a Wizard Lightning, we're dead. Yep. This is how it would go, right? Make a video about the deck, proceed to play the deck, get destroyed. 2 tap lands, but we do have a Gideon. If we draw into any land, we would be able to start extra turning at their turn 3, their turn 4. It's tempting. Okay, there's the land. And a combo. Yeah. I don't expect him to go off next turn, so I'll wait a second. So he's gone through 2 Cathartic Pyres. I'm just gonna actually, yeah, this is fine. We can wait. We can wait.
There is no shame in quitting.
I think we got there.
Stand down.
And Dragonstorm can't do anything about it. Time to get wet. I played this guy the other day. Okay. Play this, play that. Play this and this and that. Black, white. Okay, sure. Okay, sure.
Ketra, watch over me. Force, let's finish.
That's
this.
annoying. Alright.
How do you feel about a rematch?
Shelly. Worth noting, I'm not too terribly far away from Farewell. So that's what we're gonna kind of play towards. I will draw a card here with Reprieve. All the mana, huh? It's like a big gamble. So like I could Reprieve it, right? I Reprieve it.
Sometimes violence is the only way.
That's fun. Whiff, 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 whiff. He whiffs. He whiffs. This is a cool deck from opponent. It's not just standard. I mean, I'm sure the ring's in there, but 2 mana. What's that last card, do you think? Alright.
This is a plane worth saving. Let's do this.
That's what we were hoping to get. Still lots of chances to do so. Sure.
Millennia of victories are on my side.
Arna's fine. He's gonna grab liquid metal coating and we're gonna purge it. And that's gonna stall for a little bit at least. Pithy Needle. To name what? Faceless Haven? What are you naming? Gideon? Sure.
I will outlive you and your progeny.
Okay. Okay. Oh, this is fine. We don't purge until he pulls out the liquid metal coating, and then we purge. Although if he just holds it, that won't do it. Well, that buys us a little bit at least. Did he not put liquid metal coating in the sideboard? Because if not, that's a grave mistake.
Evil cannot withstand a righteous heart.
I hope your hearts are racing.
Sure.
You lack my sympathy.
Okay, we'll go into it.
Nothing phases me. I hope you said your goodbyes already.
Some solutions must be built.
We're just chilling. Okay. Don't know why opponent is spamming the game. I don't agree. Alright. I do agree. So he actually could have avoided that exit. But it was a risk, and I didn't take it at the time. But when we took our first extra turn there, maybe. Oh no. Out of gems. No. Not like that. Alright, well, so the events didn't go super well. I literally won one on the couch before I came down here with the same deck, but it is what it is.